What's going on, guys? Out of touch episode. It doesn't even matter what episode number it is.
33.
I'm John. Dustin's there. Mitchell's down below. And we're back again. We just spent about, 20 minutes of just nonsense banter before we decided to finally start recording this thing. And honestly, sometimes I wish we record those moments, but a lot of times we're talking about things we would never talk about on the show. And sometimes we're saying things we would probably never want to even be recorded, if that makes sense. So
that felt like a subtweet to me because I'm the one that does that.
we all three do it. It's not, maybe you do it more so, but I wasn't singling anybody out saying that.
I wish there was a way that you could we could record and then do like an outtakes episode of just us, what we do in the pre-show. Nice. We could fill that in anytime we don't feel like recording for like a week. We just substitute in hey, here are 45 minutes of outtakes.
There's plenty of them.
I would bet it would be our most listened to show because those are good moments.
That's the raw
stuff. That could be our Patreon account if we ever do crap like that.
And this is pretty raw. Like, I don't really hide anything on this show. Definitely compared to like an Indiana football post game. I always felt like I was able to say 50% of what I wanted to say. I would say I get up to like 80. You guys get the raw, untouched psychopath. And I'm in a weird mood today, so who knows what might come out of my mouth.
And I'm glad you get to do today's show from the friendly confines, if you will. You're no longer in a vehicle. You're able to join us this week. You're not in a hotel today. This is a rare position for you to be in, I feel like.
I think this is my first one from my new house.
I believe so. I don't remember this wooden background.
Yeah, I need something on the walls. That's what I'm learning. It's about the blandest background maybe in the history of podcasts anywhere. But yeah, I'm in my new house. I might hang up my jersey. I've got my jersey nice and framed that they gave to me. It looks so nice. I've never had my own place that was mine, so I've never hung it up. But that might be something that is behind me next week. I haven't decided.
You've never had your own space, like in your house?
Like my jersey, my house. My house where I can make. I was always renting. Took me 30 years, but finally, homeowner. Weird feeling.
You still beat me.
I guess.
Isn't that funny? I'm the youngest one, and I was the first to buy a house.
Yeah, I think we've already talked about this, though. You're literally a 50-year-old man.
We may have. Speaking of which, I did something kind of dumb today, and I was trying in my head. I was trying to avoid even bringing this up, but it's obviously the beginning of spring or pre-spring, if you will, because it's not officially spring yet. But I busted out the lawnmower today for the first time, and sometimes whenever you run the lawnmower on its initial go for the year, you may have some issues with it. So I put some new gasoline in it, or what? Not really new gasoline. It was gasoline that had been sitting in the tank for the past 6 months. In the, like the container, not the tank of the lawnmower. And I poured it over top the old gasoline and put new oil in it and stuff like that too. But about, 3 or 4 minutes into cutting the perimeter of the yard, a whole big plume of white smoke just comes out of the exhaust pipe. Scares the hell out of me. I feel like the lawnmower is about ready to blow up. I just let go of it's a push mower, so I let go of it and it stops. I back away. I'm anticipating something about ready to explode. Come to think of it, it's not that serious of an issue, but I probably shouldn't have put old gasoline on top of the even older gasoline. I later learned after I called my stepdad, who gave me some advice. But
I have a question about lawnmowers. So I rented a house. So this isn't the first time that my wife and I have been in a house, but I had to cut the grass. So I bought a lawnmower on Facebook Marketplace that I picked up.
Just buy a new one?
No, I bought a used lawnmower from a guy, and he
probably
gave it to me.
Sold meth.
He told me that it was his third drop off that day. He just was hucking lawnmowers. And he sold it to me in a parking lot of a Piggly Wiggly, if anyone's ever been there in South Carolina, which is funnier than I have thought of until just now. But every time I turn it on, it yells at me and smoke goes everywhere. And then it fires up. But he told me he cleans all of his lawnmowers with gas. Have you heard this?
No,
Like-
never heard that before.
To clean the lawnmower, and not a lot. He's not like dumping a thing of gasoline, but just like a little gasoline, and he rubs it on basically the whole thing. And I have never heard of this, but who knows how many times this lawnmower has been turned on and cleaned with pure gasoline. So I guess what I'm telling you is like, don't come around my house with fireworks when I'm cutting the grass, because that thing is just waiting to ignite.
Well, see, so this is another wrinkle to what I was saying.
I want to give him the call in line 1 sec. I want some opinions.
Okay,
How do you-
502-830-9195. That is the hotline number that Mitchell is speaking of.
Thank you. Yeah, I want some opinions. Is this something he said it like everybody does it? How do you not know about this? And I looked at him like nobody does it. Why do you do it? And it was a meeting of the minds in the Piggly Wiggly parking lot. And I want to know if this is a normal thing.
So the other wrinkle to my story, real quick, and then Dustin.
Yeah.
So the tank that had the old gasoline in it, I didn't really know what to do with the old gasoline, because you don't just want to, dump it down your drain or anything like that. And so I was like, maybe there's a little. Do what?
The guy I bought mine from has an idea what to do with it.
Well, see, and my thought was, maybe I can just pour some of this gasoline on parts of my lawn that have weeds in it, knowing that it'll kill it a bunch. Well, so I go to different, and I know, this is very stupid, but I did this, so I'm going to share.
I haven't decided if it's stupid or not. I'm interested.
I don't know
if it's my thinking look.
I don't know if it's stupid or not either, but I just think it's funny that it's not killed, it's killed a bunch. So something isn't already dead; it's dead.
Super dead.
Yeah, because I've spilled gasoline on the lawn before, not a bunch of it, but like a portion in like a small little hole, and it dries up and kills everything around it. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna dispose of this gasoline by putting it around like the fire pit circle, so all the weeds go away. I'm gonna go around the perimeter of the yard. And what I eventually realized is that I just had way too much gasoline in this tank still. And I started to think, and more like overthink in my head, like, this is probably way too much gasoline. And there were people like neighbors outside. And so I'm like, if these guys look over, they're probably thinking I'm about ready to set this lawn on fire, or my house on fire, or my shed on fire, because it honestly looked very suspicious. So I got self-conscious and I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm done with yard work for the day. We'll try this some other time.
I feel like that made you look even worse. You noticed them, and then they just walked away from.
Well, they were also outside when the lawnmower kind of blew up, in a sense. I mean, it didn't explode, but when the plume of smoke came
like,
out.
oh, it didn't work. It needs more gas.
And so I was already more. They probably thought, like, if I was them and I saw me doing this and I was intently watching, I'd probably be thinking, oh, this guy's so pissed off, he's just going to end it. He's going to light everything on fire. I might need to call the police. I might need to call the fire department.
I can't lie. You had me. I was with you on killing the weeds. I mean, it's probably not the most effective or the most environmentally friendly. It is certainly not the most environmentally friendly. But when you led with, I poured it around my fireplace.
Yeah.
I think
not the fireplace, the fire pit, and there wasn't an active fire on, obviously.
Right, but there will be. There will be.
That's why you have the pit.
It's not shelf life, half life, whatever the chemical terminology is for a compound. But like, how long is that gasoline going to be in the soil to where one little?
That was part of my panic. That's what. So I started thinking, I'm like, maybe I need to look up how big of a deal this is, to where if I actually want to have a fire, is it going to be safe?
I think you need to wait until next year.
Could you imagine you just have like 10 friends over, all sitting around a campfire, and all of a sudden just this ring of fire circulates while everybody's trying to have a good time, and all of a sudden it's just John's house becomes this inferno of.
Well, I picture it because John is very thoughtful, and
sometimes over thoughtful.
As these 10 people are sitting around, he's going to be attempting to light the fire and be like, by the way, guys, if you smell it, it is gasoline. I poured it just right here, and it's really close to the fire. So hopefully we don't all die. And then they have that 1 second of panic when you're lighting a fire by gasoline.
Here's a question, and I don't know the answer to this. Does gasoline burn on the fume or on the liquid?
See,
It's a
this
good
is
question.
science. This. I have no clue. I should know.
I'm just as clueless.
I have.
I don't know either, and I can't.
If you're a scientist, honestly, if you're listening to this and you know that I am a complete dumbass and there is a chance that I could have killed myself or other people today, please call and tell me why.
Just
and what I
hit
could
the
have done
hotline.
better.
Just make sure your neighbors aren't around when the insurance people come around. That's going to be a big problem.
And these neighbors too. These neighbors already don't like me. Like, and I didn't do anything to them. So I'm Barry. Do a little, not even really gossip. I'm Barry. Just talk more about my life, I guess, on this show. So about, I don't know, a year ago. So the neighbors that I'm speaking of from the lawnmower situation, they're 2 houses down from where we live. So there's neighbors in between us. And one time I was talking with the neighbor in between us, and they were talking to me about how they were complaining about how loud my dog was barking outside at night. And because they had asked them if my dog keeps them awake at night. I don't know why the middle neighbor decided to tell me that, but since then I've just had a very sour taste about my neighbors 2 doors down from me.
Gasoline.
What I like is you don't even know if they actually asked that. Is there a chance that the middle neighbor is just trying to start a war?
And
like he said, she said, even though no one said. I kind of like.
Fun fact: this person doesn't even live there anymore. It's the person who told me that was living there at the time is the person who lives there currently, their daughter or granddaughter or something. So it's an elderly woman who currently lives there. The younger person was there living with them temporarily. And this person
started a war and got out. I love it.
Do what?
She started a war and got out.
And maybe she did.
People are feuding now.
But for one thing, well, we're not feuding, but and she was I never had reason to not believe what she was telling me. I'll say that. But one thing that's funny is that the middle neighbor, had 2 very yappy dachshund puppies later on that would also bark in the other neighbor's direction. So
gasoline is a volatile, flammable liquid. It is colorless to pale brown or pink in color with a distinctive odor. Generally, the odor of gasoline provides adequate warning of hazardous concentrations. Its vapors may travel to a source of ignition and flashback. I honestly don't know what
is literally a bomb.
I don't know what 75% of what I just read means, but it seems like you can ignite both, is my takeaway. Fumes and liquid. Carry on. I heard not one word you said about your neighbors.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
There's a war.
There was a war. It's honestly, it's a Cold War. It's like the Cold War because neither one of us have ever communicated with each other. And
it's like passive aggressive.
Very passive aggressive, yes.
You could be. What if they thought you were like testing ways to light stuff on fire and their house was next? And now they're going to get preemptive and come light your house on fire? Have you thought about this? I don't want you to
Next time I see them, I'll just give them a wave and that'll be it. And just look away just so they know that I know they're there.
You don't ever smile and wave at them? You just look at them and, oh, is that the loud dog?
That's my dog.
Oh. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's
and my dog, the complaints came back when she was a puppy. I mean, she can be loud, but she doesn't go out and howl at the freaking moon like she did when she was a baby puppy.
Yeah, and like I think it's allowed.
What kind of wording is that?
Killing things bunches and a baby puppy.
That's just an even smaller version of a real puppy, a regular puppy.
A regular puppy, yeah.
Dustin, you said something earlier that I wanted to ask you about, a Twitter hiatus at 12 o'clock. I don't think this was today. I think it might have been yesterday, but I wanted to ask you what prompted that and how did it go?
It went fine. I'm not going to get into it, but people who know.
Twitter is a cesspool.
It's mysterious. It wasn't a big deal. It was more of a joke. Like, I obviously cover the Big Ten. There were a lot of Big Ten. I will get into it, but I'm not going to get into the specifics of it. Other than the Big Ten, like, basketball awards were coming out, and I see a lot of arguing on my timeline. And so I was just going to take a Twitter hiatus for a couple hours until everything settled down. And then I came out with my own awards. and everybody had a merry good time. So that was really the end of the story.
Twitter is, I don't know how long we want to stay on Twitter, but and honestly, it's if we're being honest, it's not even called Twitter anymore, even though that's what it's colloquially. Wow, I don't think I said that word correctly at all.
I think you did colloquially.
Even it's known still as Twitter because that's what it was for, since its existence until Elon Musk decided to give it a new name for whatever reason. But it's over time, it's just become a place that's full of toxicity and people who don't even want to. It's like a way people escape from reality to be someone that they're not, but also in the worst way. Like some people escape to places that are more happy, I guess, so they'll do something that makes them, I don't know, enjoy their life. Whereas I feel like if you're going onto Twitter to be someone or be a character that's going to, I don't know, just troll, I guess is the only way to put it. I feel like you would have to be a pretty miserable human being to want to do that.
Well, that's like half the population on Twitter does that. So.
Well, and Mitchell, you as somebody who
I love it. I'm in the cesspool. I'm fully in.
So
I tweet all kinds, especially during. It always revolves around Indiana sports, but I tweet
that makes sense for you being an alum. Like that's the realm you're going to be involved in all the time.
But I could make tweets that are not controversial and would get no responses. I always try to put something just a little over the line because I want people firing at me so I can fire right back. My Saturday afternoons, I've told you this, it's my favorite thing in the world, are always filled with no name, no face Twitter accounts just berating me and me calling them dumb. It's so fun.
It used to be the egg profile pictures, but now
true.
I think it's just like a gray
like
photo
2 followers,
or something.
3 following, and I'm just in an absolute war with these people. How about this thing? Can you guys see this? Have you noticed this on my arm?
Yeah, what do you got going on there? What's that little? So for those not watching on YouTube, he's showing us
on your arm.
A cut, a gash.
Is that anthrax?
Yeah.
So,
I'm just kidding.
I've been gone from this podcast for a couple weeks in a row. I am happy to be back, but
was it really 2 weeks in a row you were gone? I thought it was just last week.
Well, it was last week, and then I was coming back from South Carolina the week before that.
Maybe you were gone for 2 weeks.
I think it was 2 weeks. So I went to South Carolina, played in a golf tournament, Barstool Classic. We're the winners, no big deal. We won our qualifier, so we will be back in Scottsdale in December. My partner's really good, but I got there, and I don't know if it's his girlfriend or what it is. She has a Saint Bernard, and Saint Bernard just not very good around people or other dogs. Just kind of known that you stay away from this dog. And the dog was at his apartment where I was planning on staying. I didn't know the dog would be there. And he told me kind of last minute that the dog was going to be there. And I was trying to think like, not super comfortable. I don't really want to be around this dog. He convinces me it's going to be fine. Dog will be locked up. I'm like, okay, no problem. So I get there. I pull in. He's walking his dog out. This is not the same dog. Different dog. He's taking his dog out. He's like, yeah, just go in. I'll be there in 2 minutes. So I walk in. I know this dog is somewhere in the apartment. It's a 2-bedroom apartment. He's somewhere in there. It's like a creeping monster. And I walk in, and to the right is the first room. And I see his computer set up in there. So I'm thinking, like, that's his room. I don't know why I assume that. I don't have my computer stuff in my room, but I see his entire setup. So I'm thinking, okay, the dog must be in there. I'm not going to go in there. Keep walking in the apartment. There's another room. And as I'm getting closer, I'm like, oh, crap, this is their bedroom 100%. I kind of peek in, don't see the dog. So now I don't know where this dog is. This dog could be right behind me. I take one step in the room, and it's a full-grown St. Bernard. This thing's 180 pounds. I peek in, and it's laying on the bathroom floor. I don't think it sees me, but I freeze. And I just give him like a, hey, buddy. And I literally backpedal. I don't turn my back. I backpedal back into the kitchen. Right as I'm backpedaling, Buddy comes in with his dog. Dog starts making some noise. I look over to him. I look back to my left. The St. Bernard is up and walking into the kitchen. He gets 2 feet from me. As soon as my buddy says hello, I turn, see this dog go straight for me, full jaws around my arm, bit the crap out of me. Its whole mouth, like you can see the gash on the top, but its bottom tooth is, I mean, there was a huge hole on the bottom of my arm too. It's got its jaws around me. I kind of ripped this dog off my arm. I'm picking him up, not by like his neck, but under his belly. And looking back on it, his face was right by my face. He could have chewed me. But the reason that it's so big, his tooth like scratched over the top of my arm. It was super nasty. I'll send you guys a picture of it. It was crazy. Like definitely should have got stitches. Did not get stitches. The dog does have all of its vaccines. Everything was fine. I got it in the room, no problem. But that was a big event for me.
Was that the first time you had seen the dog? Did he think you were an intruder?
First time I'd ever met the dog. Like, I don't know. I never even looked at the dog, said, hey, or I said, hey, buddy, backed away. I'm in the kitchen. I make no movement towards him. He comes walking out, sees the other dog, and just goes straight for me. It was insane. It was crazy.
What was it like the rest of the time you were there?
Bad. So, yeah. I stayed there that night, but I didn't stay there the rest of the time. Not actually because of the dog, just had some other stuff going on. But
is a Saint Bernard the same? Yeah. So, Cujo, you see the movie Cujo, right? Have you all seen the movie Cujo?
I think, yeah, that's the kind of dog. I'm gonna look it up right now. But
so I just typing, I just typed in evil Saint Bernard on Google Images, and the dog from the movie Cujo is what shows up. But that, first of all, it's a very weird movie in general. It is older, and shout out to my grandparents. They're the reason I've seen it. I don't remember
I think I've seen this movie. Cujo. Is that the dog that gets rabies?
I don't remember if it has rabies, but like anytime that people come up to this house that this dog lives in, he just goes bananas on him, and he's all bloodied, and it's pretty gross.
It's Stephen King, isn't it?
Yes, Stephen King.
Yes, that's exactly this dog.
So you had a real life Cujo moment.
Yeah, and it is twice as big as me. I'm fat now, but like even now, it is. I mean, this thing could have eaten me in one bite.
Saint Bernards, I feel like they don't look like very vicious dogs. But I mean, I guess most dogs don't look vicious.
And fluffy, and it looks like the kind of dog that thinks he's a lap dog, would lay on. No.
Yeah.
Not my lap. Not mine. Maybe if he had my arm and
not my lap dog.
No, yeah. If he would have bit my arm off, he may have let me sit inside. But that's how I started my trip to South Carolina. I was there
what are the scariest dog breeds? And I guess maybe we got to be careful about this depending on who may or may not have a dog of this.
Yeah, scariest is like scariest looking, because some dogs are scary looking but also awesome. Like the all black German Shepherds are sick. What's the police dogs and like army dogs are Belgian Malinois?
Oh, is that what they are? I was gonna say
I don't know.
There's German Shepherds that are pretty scary. Rottweilers.
Rottweilers have Belgian Malinois. First of all, I've never heard that term before for a dog, but they look a lot like German Shepherds.
Yeah, it's not. Yes, it is Belgian Malinois, and they're like crazy athletic. We used to, when we were in Charleston, we used to go to this dog park, and they're like the smartest dog breed that there is, apparently. And this guy had it trained. I mean, it must have been some kind of service, not like service dog for a blind person, like a service go attack people kind of dog. And he was going out there, and they were training, and he would play fetch and like go catch something. And watching this dog run, it was like God made these dogs. It was the perfect dog.
It's like the DARPA dogs,
so cool.
The robot ones.
It looked so cool. It could probably climb up the tree. It was unbelievable. Those things were awesome. But isn't there a dog breed that hunts lions, like a Rhodesian Ridgeback or something? You gotta look
I
this
am-
up.
I mean, you're throwing out names. You're throwing out breeds.
Yeah,
I've never
even heard of these.
You
You
gotta
got
look these
Rhodesian
up.
Ridgeback.
Yeah, they were bred to hunt
Really
lions.
tall legs.
Yes. I think that's South Africa ridged hunting dogs, and they were bred to guard against and hunt down lions. Like, what?
This thing looks like a tall wiener dog.
A little bit, except he probably is a little more vicious. Although wiener
Yeah.
dogs can be pretty vicious. I would say some of the meanest, scariest dogs are the little ones because you don't see them coming.
Yeah.
And
You
all
don't see
they
'em
do
coming
is
and they're just on you.
they're the yappiest too.
Yes, and mad. What's the breed of dog that's always growling? It's got like big bug eyes and super skinny.
Always.
It's
Oh, is
Chihuahua
it the
looking.
pug?
No, pugs are. I don't know how that became a breed. That thing never. Can you imagine how stopped up his nose must be? All the pugs. They
There's
can't breathe for nothing.
Pomeranian.
I don't know. Pomeranians are a little fluffy.
They are
These things
fluffy.
are like.
What are the dogs
skin.
that are really tall and kind of like the Rhodesian Ridgeback? The ones that are black and tall and they're like super fast. I feel like they're always portrayed with like spiked collars on.
Doberman?
Yes, Doberman.
Doberman.
Those things are
Scary.
terrifying.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
scary. Yeah.
We used to have. This is a fun story. You're gonna get a little look into the childhood of Mitchell. There was an Asian family that lived down the street from us. I've got two stories about this family. One of them is hilarious. Their son was named Isaac, and Isaac was a little bit overweight back then, and they didn't have an Xbox at their house. So he would come to our house, because I did have an Xbox, and knock on our door and ask my mom if I could hang out or whatever. And my mom would say, no, he's at sports or wherever he is. And he says, well, can I play the Xbox? And I can count like multiple times that this dude would just be playing Xbox in my house. But my favorite story is it was like a snow day, a blizzard, and the bus stop was right down the street from my house. And I mean, there's a foot of snow on the ground. School is definitely canceled. You didn't have to look. And my dad leaves for work, and Isaac was just standing at the bus stop. And my dad looks at him like, Isaac, what are you doing? Waiting for the school bus. Well, school's canceled. He just goes, okay, and starts walking back home. Who knows how long this kid had been there? Like, my dad left after us, so he's thinking the bus was 20 minutes late or whatever it was. But this is another
Imagine if he
story.
didn't say anything.
That's what I'm saying. Isaac might still be standing on the corner waiting for that bus. Another thing that this kid did. This is awesome. I haven't thought about these stories in forever. So they owned a Chinese restaurant in our city, and he used to work at the restaurant. And one time he got locked in the freezer, but it was a busy night.
Really like the cold. He likes to
It was a
stand out
busy
for a
night,
snow day.
and his parents never, they didn't realize he was in the freezer. He was in there for like 2.5 hours, just locked in the freezer.
Jeez.
But the point of this story, we'll get back to the dogs. They had a Doberman whose name was Whisper, but their dad had a Chinese accent, so he would say Whisper. And this dog was way too fast. He would get away. There's no way they were catching him, and he would just be yelling down the street, Whisper, Whisper, Whisper. And this dog is screaming down the street, running away from them. That dog used to scare the crap out of me, man. Oh gosh, the Lees. I haven't thought about them in forever. I wonder what he's doing. You ever do that? Wonder where all the kids from your young days, the block in the neighborhood, where they all are at. I haven't seen him.
I'll tell you what, and this goes back to something we talked about a while back, you and me, Mitchell, on one of our duo episodes, is going back and visiting the old neighborhood.
Yes.
And I definitely can tell most people don't live there anymore, which would make sense. Like they don't.
I would hope that the kids don't
live
still
with their
live there.
parents.
Yeah.
But could you imagine if there are? Let's just say you went back and did something like that, and you saw your old friend. And I guess at that point, you'd be looking at, and I guess I don't want to assume, but we're just talking hypothetically, but they'd be deadbeats if they're still in that house, unless they're taking care of whoever might have lived there, who helped them, took care of them when they grew up. But
or they're just
It is
trying
weird
to
about those things.
save up all
Yeah,
kinds of
save
money. I
money.
had a buddy that lived at home till he was like 28. He saved like $150,000 because his parents charged him $100 in rent or something.
That
Like,
is the
and I don't know. I mean,
maybe I'm
I
just
lived at home.
jealous.
I lived at home till I was like 26 probably, and I kind of had a weird, like I was in Europe, I was in Los Angeles, so it wasn't all the way straight to 26. But my first job, I lived at home at my dad's house in the basement, slept on the couch. I loved it. It was awesome. Food
Look at
was
me
always.
being a judgmental ass.
I would go back and live at my dad's house or my mom's house right now. Imagine.
Really?
Yeah. Yes. Life, no worries. What?
Yeah, but you
You know how many times I cut the grass? 0. I would have never had to worry about washing my lawnmower with gasoline.
But see,
That's
that's
true.
fine though. Like wanting to be a kid again is fine, but like you don't want to go live there now.
Yeah, I mean, if it actually came to having to do that, I'm not sure I would be able to pull the trigger. It may sound better in my head than in reality, but it wasn't all that bad. That's all I'm saying.
Dustin, you've been a traveling nomad.
Dustin, you still live with your parents?
No.
Yeah, what's that like?
My laundry
Biscuit
magically
takes care
folds
of you.
itself.
Have you guys seen that stupid video? And this is the last thing I'll talk. I have such weird thoughts. I told you I'm in a weird mood, but
We love the
There's-
weird thoughts.
there's some stupid video. Some guy is looking at his wife and she's complaining like, you leave your stuff everywhere, you don't fold the clothes, you don't throw away the trash, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna tell you about this secret. I didn't want to jinx it, but I'm gonna tell you. If you leave your clothes in this particular spot, the next day, I don't know how it happens, they come back and they're folded on your bed. I don't know how it happens. I leave my clothes here, and the next day, they come back and it's all folded. And he's just like oblivious to the fact that the wife has been doing the laundry and folding them. It's just a very stupid video. That's what made me think of that.
I've heard that, but
that
I've
is
heard that one with parents.
Yes, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah.
Leave all your trash on this table, wake up the next day, all gone. It's a magic table.
Dustin, how old were you when you began living on your own?
Good
Probably like
question.
15.
No,
I feel like Dustin's been out and about.
Dustin
forever.
came out of the womb and immediately he just
Yeah, it's
grabbed
like-
a.
I
he
was like, I
started
grabbed
walking.
a suitcase and a top hat and was like, "See you guys later. I got this."
Yeah.
I was, let's see, I graduated when I was 22, and then I moved out within a year. So I was probably 23 when I was done. Now I've had some instances in my life, unfortunately, a couple times where I've had to move in for like a month or
Yeah.
2 months.
And there's
something like
no
that.
shame in that.
But
No.
nothing to where it was like I'm living here like full time. So I've pretty much ever since I graduated college, after that first year, I've been pretty much on my own.
I would say that's pretty normal. That
Yeah, that's how it
people
was
just
for me.
leave right away.
I don't know that it, well, I had a lot of friends that kind of did what your friend did, Mitchell, and that's not, maybe they didn't live there till they were 28, but like 25, 26. And
I have friends
saved
that
like
still live with their parents and do that
50
same thing he's talking about.
50, 60 grand, if not more. And then, but then when you move out, then you're ready to like buy a house or something instead of having to live in an apartment. I just went straight to apartment living and have been throwing money directly into a garbage can for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Now, let me say something, because this is something I've gone back and forth with, and I do still, obviously I own a house, and that's like ultimately I get the
Keep
point
rubbing
of
it in, you and
owning
everybody else.
property. But here's the thing though, like for people who do go their entire life and they just rent, like there are a lot of things that you never have to worry about. You don't have to replace anything. You
Correct.
sometimes, I mean, maybe, I don't know, I guess it depends on your landlord. Like, do you have to pay for that kind of stuff? Like if your air conditioner goes out, that kind of thing, like
No.
you never have to worry about those expenses. And so
Right.
a lot of times you're putting a lot of money in when you own. Obviously when you sell, like I guess you get it back on return. That's kind of the point. But if you know you're never going to buy a house, then honestly, it seems like I get the argument for people who say, why not just rent? Because your life is a little easier, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I can speak to it because I've never lived in a house.
Well, like, is there other than finances? Is there a reason why you haven't? Or is it just finances?
No, I think there have been points in my life when I've been able to buy a house, but I'm also like, I've moved so much that I'm like, I don't want to buy a house unless I know for sure I'm going to
That's
be here
fair.
for the next X amount of years.
Mhm.
Because I thought I was going to be in Kennesaw, Georgia for 20, like I thought I was going to live the rest of my life there. A year later, I mean, I lived there for 4 years, but after, because I was seriously considering buying a house, and life happens, and I moved, and then
Yeah.
I was in
Now
Gainesville,
you're gonna
Florida.
move
Moved
again.
again. So there's just been times where it's like I've thought about getting a house. I was like, okay, this is where I want to settle, and then it's just that fear of like I don't want to have to do all this stuff, and then 8 months down the road try to figure out a way to sell this thing.
And now that's all you've ever
Especially-
known. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't want to make you feel old, but like you're in your mid-30s and like you're still doing that. Like that's life to you.
It is life to me.
Especially in your line of work, though, dude. Like, you could just bounce around because you can kind of do what you do in any city, anywhere. So
Right.
having the freedom to, you know what? I want to go see if they want sports covered in San Diego, and you can just pack up and go. Like now that John and I have bought a house, our job prospects, for better or for worse, they kind of shrink, right? I can't take a job in Florida. I can, but there's exponentially more things to get crossed off
Right.
versus, okay, well, I've got a TV and a couch and a bed. I'll just throw it in a U-Haul. Let's go move to San Diego. I think there's I listen to a lot of stupid podcasts, but I really like real estate and learning how people build wealth through real estate. And there are not a lot, I won't say it's a majority, but there's definitely a certain sector of investor that believes that always rent where you live and buy what's going to make you money. So it's the exact kind of principle we're talking about where, okay, let's say Indianapolis is kind of booming right now. You rent there, you learn the market, you buy there, but then you find out through whatever that now Lexington, Kentucky is kind of popping off. You go down there, learn that market, you can invest there. Then you just have a lot more freedom to go where the opportunity is. And that's very similar to what you're doing. If there's a sweet job that opens up somewhere and they call you, you can be on the in the car tomorrow. I don't think it's a problem at all. It just depends on your line of work. Like if you're a lawyer that has all his contacts here, you're going to make great money, but you're here. If you go be a lawyer 4 hours from here, no one's going to know who you are and you have to completely reset.
Right. And now this is going to change a little bit for me because I'm moving to St. Louis in like a month.
Mhm.
But so that part's going to change. But I will say that renting and like living the way I've lived has allowed me to move to Orlando, to move to Atlanta, to move to Lafayette, Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, Gainesville. Like it's allowed me to experience a lot of different things. I would have liked to, if moving wasn't such a pain in the ass, I would have liked to have moved like a little bit somewhere out west. So I could have, I would like to visit the East Coast, like New York, Boston. I have zero desire to live there, but I would have liked to try it out west. Like, I don't know, see what it's like out in Colorado or Wyoming.
There's
can't wait to
something
have a house
very
in Arizona.
mysterious. And maybe it's just because we're all from, I guess, east of the Mason-Dixon line. Is that how that works? Is the Mason-Dixon line the middle? What is
Mason-Dixon line is south.
Isn't that
I'm
north
making
and
myself
south?
sound really stupid, whatever
south,
it is.
North and south.
I think it's hard to be east or west of it because
east of the Mississippi is what I should have said. East of the Mississippi. And so everything west of that feels like it's obviously
frontier,
not uncharted
baby.
territory, but to us it feels like a totally different world.
It does. I actually, when I lived in Orlando, Florida, applied for a job to cover Washington State in Pullman, Washington. I don't know that you could have ever gone like from extreme opposite ends of the country, from Orlando, Florida to Pullman, Washington. I was in the final running and the guy was like, yeah, if you want to be here, it's like the job's going to pay $29,000. And I'm like, I don't know if I can get the gas money
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
if
think it's
29 is
going to
gonna
cost
cover
me
my
more
gas
than that. Yeah,
to get out
move
there.
there. Yeah.
It's going to take you $29,000 to travel to Pullman, Washington alone.
I was so excited to like get that opportunity. I'm like, okay, I would have covered like pretty much every part of in a way, every region of the U.S., but didn't work out. Oh well.
Yeah.
By the way, are you wearing an Indiana State pullover right now?
I am. Yeah, I
I
got
saw the Sycamore logo.
Go 6.
I guess.
6. So that reminds me too. I saw somebody made a custom jersey for the Pacers. It just says "Sirs" on it, like apostrophe CERS.
Oh, well, there's I don't know if Mitchell follows this person or not, but there's a guy who like after every Pacers game or after every Pacers win, he does a customized jersey. Like he just creates it on whatever, not Photoshop, but whatever type of graphic design thing he has. And so
he
he
has
just
AI
uses,
created is what he's really doing.
So he just creates different jerseys every time they win. Some of them are really good, some of them are not, but it's a cool idea. I did not see the one you're talking about, but I have seen a lot of them.
Have you? But like, are you somebody? I know you're a Pacers fan. Like, do you ever just for fun call them sirs? I've never heard that before in my life until I saw that jersey.
Oh, I've definitely heard that. Yeah.
Really? I guess I'm just
usually when me and my friends are out at the bar, like drinking, like, I mean, it's like I don't know how to like bro talk would be the best way. Like, yeah, man, the sirs are on.
Yeah,
just when we're like purposely trying to be obnoxious.
That stung my ears when you said it, but yes, I've definitely said that exact sentence.
All right, so before we, I guess, get towards the waning moments of the show, I guess I'll just leave it up to you guys. So I've got town names ready to go, and Mitchell, I told Dustin this last week. I don't have a wheel ready, a punishment wheel, but I have a list of new punishments that we could do for town names. And what I
think we wait for the wheel. The wheel would be fun. I think we do the wheel. You set it up to your right on your right shoulder, and
it'd probably be an online wheel. I'd probably just put us over on the side, and it would be like on the screen. And
okay, I just like the anticipation. It'll be kind of bad radio for 10 seconds, but we'll make it
fun. We'll make it have some sound effects or something like that. But here's what I am gonna do. I do want to read you the punishment list I have, and I want to see if we think these are good ideas and which ones we can maybe eliminate. Because
so after this, I have to ask Mitchell a very important question. I've been waiting to ask him this for weeks. It's not important, but I have been waiting to ask him for weeks.
Teaser. So keep that in your brain, and then we'll do that. All right, so I've got 5, and if you don't like any of them, then we don't have to do them. But a lot of these are based on, so like we normally do the town names at the end of each episode, right? So the loser will do the punishment during the upcoming episode after that, if that makes sense. So let's just theoretically say that Dustin lost this week, and the punishment landed on this. The wheel landed on this punishment, and it was wear a wig during the next episode. I think that'd be pretty funny, especially because he doesn't have any hair.
That's good. I'm gonna have to buy, but I'm gonna have to buy a wig.
Yeah, you may have to buy a wig if you don't want to do that. That's fine, but that's one that I've got.
As long as I can find a cheap one, I got no problem with it.
Yeah, there's Party Tree. You can get a $2 wig. It's gonna be so itchy, so itchy.
So I'll just go down the list. The winner chooses what the loser has to draw on their own face and also have on their face for the entirety of the next episode.
I think that's tough because I have to go in person to talk to people every day. And I understand it could be a marker that erases, but by the off chance that it doesn't, that's a problem.
All right, we'll keep moving on. Eat an onion like an apple. Oh, and that can just happen at the end of that episode if you want.
That's a good one, but man, I think
the motivation would be very high. Not to lose.
Just to guess town names.
Do we keep that?
Yeah, I'm with that.
Yeah,
let me go ahead and I forgot to eliminate the drawing.
Do you have to
face.
Hold on? Do you have to eat the whole thing?
No,
we can maybe make it like half an onion or even a quarter of an onion or something.
Throughout the episode, you need to take like 5 bites.
There you go. Okay.
Or maybe we can have like a word. Anytime a word is said, and it can't just be said on purpose. It can be something like
every time
like you
John
can't
says,
say,
so there you go.
I haven't said it once today.
No, you
I
haven't.
haven't said it once today.
So good.
That's
a good one.
I got two more. Wear a piece of tape over your mouth during the episode. And maybe not all the way over your mouth, but like 3/4 over your mouth.
Most people,
Again,
considering that most people listen to this,
that's true.
Maybe
for like 5 minutes. Maybe you have to tell a story with a piece of tape over your mouth, and like that's the bit, not the whole episode.
I don't hate it. What about a mustache?
Maybe we do mustache.
You have to have a mustache in public for a week.
Ooh, hey, here's one that would be good for me and Mitchell, because we have beards and mustaches. Is that if let's just say Dustin, well, not Dustin loses, but one of us loses. Dustin picks. You have to tell us how we have to shave our face for the next episode. Like if it needs to be handlebars or if it needs to be completely clean.
This impacts Mitchell again in his job, so I'll defer to him.
This can just be this can be just how you punish me then.
I could trim it off at night. A beard is fine. If I can make sure that it's gone the next morning, I will literally do anything.
Okay.
And the last one is do the cinnamon challenge on the air. I know that's old school, but do you remember what the cinnamon challenge is?
Yeah, I know it involves like eating a certain amount of cinnamon, and
you literally just put a spoonful of cinnamon in your mouth and try not to cough it up.
Can you? Have people died doing this?
I don't think people have died, but people
I
usually
make sure nobody's gonna die while we're
like it's not like we're gonna be eating Tide Pods or anything on the show.
Well, I mean, you never know.
I hope not.
These are mostly. This is a mostly good. Mostly
those are good. That's a good list. I'm not completely out of my mind.
No,
I don't know why I just thought of this. This is another story. I've had a lot of stuff go on to me in the last.
It's okay.
2 weeks.
We like to catch up with our man Mitch.
I have weird dreams a lot. The most recent one is a little scarier than the other ones, and I'm curious if you've ever had a dream like this. So I talked about I have a new house, so there's obviously some anxieties around like who's around. You want to make sure you're safe. Couple nights ago, I had a dream, and someone could call the police on me for this dream, but
okay.
So I am in the dream. It's like picture 2 rooms that are connected by a hallway, and the doors are right across from each other. And there's also a door that's right in the middle of the hallway. So if you're looking at the door, straight to your right is a bedroom, straight to your left is a bedroom, and it's one singular hallway. And I come out of the bedroom on the right side. I hear a crash. I come out of the bedroom on the right side. It's the middle of the night. And I look straight across, and it's my wife's dad that comes out of the other one. And we look at each other and kind of like, what was that? We see broken glass in the middle of the floor in the hallway. And he starts talking. I can't remember what he said, but he's like calling out to see if anyone's there. And the door in the middle of the hallway opens, and a guy steps out. And her dad, I can see he has a gun. And then I pull out a gun, and I don't even know where it came from, but the guy from the middle that just came out of this door starts walking toward, like charging me. And I shot him 4 times. I can still see where the bullets went. And then I woke up from the dream. I was sweating, breathing so hard. My heart rate was 200. It was the most intense 5 seconds. And that picture is just ingrained in my brain.
Because your brain, I could see why that would freak you out, because you, in your mind, you had the guts to just blast somebody 4 times.
I shot him. And not once. I didn't like drop the gun.
You made sure he was down.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
There was an adrenaline rush there. Yeah.
But where does that come from? We talked about dreams before and how freaky they are. I believe that dreams are stemming, like, I think you have certain kinds of dreams. Like I used to get chased all the time as a kid. I would wake up and something was chasing me. They would never catch me, but I was always running. I used to have this dream where I was just walking endlessly on this road that was lined with trees, and I never made it to where I was going. Like I believe that, and I used to have all kinds of different weird anxieties and do people like me kind of things back then. insecurities, basically, that every kid has. But I
Yeah.
believe that your dreams are directly correlated by what your subconscious and your brain is actively thinking during the day. What kind of thoughts
Yeah.
could I have been having that led to that? It still gives me chills thinking about it. I can picture it clear as day. It's like it happened in real life. And it didn't. Don't call the cops. It did not. But if it did, right?
That's actually why John is gasolining his fire pit.
Just in case I come over.
Correct me or interrupt me if I've told this dream before, and this will be really quick, but I've had this dream. It happens like it's maybe once every month or every
You've told
couple
this
of months.
before.
You know what I'm about ready to say?
No.
What dream
Just
is
wanted
it?
to see how you would react to that.
You beat me to it. I was going to let him get a little farther and say, shut up.
I figured Mitchell, honestly, Dustin, I thought it was legit because Mitchell would have just said it to try to screw with me like he usually does.
Yeah.
But
jump the gun.
Yeah. Beat me to
I
it
have
in
this
my own
dream,
game.
and it's not in the same location every time, but I will come to, if you will, in the dream and realize that I'm in a public place, just completely nude, and I have to try to figure out how to get, not to be seen and get to a place where I can put clothes on. And that's again, very weird, doesn't make any sense. But it's a different kind of scary than what Mitchell was talking about. But I mean, in your mind, especially in a dream, like when you don't realize it's a dream, you're like, I'm going to get arrested for public nudity.
It's full
like, this
panic. Yes.
It's terrible.
Yes. And we were probably feeling the same kind of emotion, like the rush. You wake up sweaty, like you just ran a race trying to get out of that.
I've had that dream. I feel like I've had it at least 3 times, at least, maybe more.
That's
so
weird.
I didn't have or at least I don't remember. I'm sure I've had them. I don't remember like an adrenaline rush dream, but I remember in high school, this is a little bit of a sad story, but bear with me, is that I had asked this girl to prom and or one of the dances, and she turned me down. She told me no. I think she already had a date. Anyway, a couple weeks later, I had a dream about her, and I was picking her up for prom. I'm just going to say prom because I don't remember what it was, and that's easiest.
Yeah.
And I went to go pick her up, and I was like walking up this staircase, and in the dream, she walked out, and she was I noticed she was noticeably pregnant. I woke up the next morning, and I think it was like on spring break. Because the way it worked out, spring break was before prom because prom's usually like late April, early May, and then spring break's like that last week of March. I'm not for 2 weeks, I could not remember. The dream was so vivid and so real, and there was no out of the ordinary type thing that I could not remember if she was actually pregnant or not. It was like one of those things wait, is she it was just so bizarre because I could not remember, I couldn't separate reality from the dream. I could not remember. I was like, well, that would make sense as to why she turned me down for prom. No, she just didn't want to go with me.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of people, it's along the same lines, but similar to that where it's something that something you really wanted and it doesn't happen or something. And you have a dream that's say you're with a group of friends and you're walking somewhere and you take a look one way and then turn around and they're all gone. And you just feel like this super and this is so depressing, but you feel like this despair, like you're super alone, like they were there 1 second and then everyone's gone and you're just by yourself. I've never had that one, but because I love talking about dreams, but I've just heard that kind of over the course of my life, a couple different people experienced something along the lines of that when they were maybe chasing football for whatever reasons in my mind, but they thought they were going to start. They had a great season, whatever, or great spring, thought they were going to play. First game, they don't play a snap. And then they have the dream where everyone's around them, they look, and then they're all gone. And it's like this just let down moment. And that's where I thought you were going to go. I thought you were going to say, I asked her to prom. She said no. Then in the dream, she was at prom with me. I turn around and she wasn't there.
Dang.
Nope.
Yeah. That's kind of a dark one. But
Well, to that same point, and then I'm
Yes,
going
I
to ask
talked
this
about
question.
shooting
I'm going
someone.
to ask this question, but
Yeah.
I have my biggest regret is not like I played basketball up through my sophomore year of high school. One of my biggest regrets is not playing, and so many times I will have a dream of me playing like it with my high school on the court, all my teammates, all that stuff, and man, I get so sad every time I wake up from that dream. I'm like, damn it, I should have just kept playing, even if I wouldn't have actually played just to be on the team. But
I'm going to say my last thing,
Okay.
because you just reminded me. I had a kid, one of my best friends growing up. His name was also Mitch. Our senior year of high school in basketball, he tried out for the team, hadn't played in 2 years. He made the team, went to 3 practices, quit.
Oh,
and we won the state championship that year. So he's told me a couple times, like, I just have these weird thoughts that like I'm celebrating with you guys holding it up, and it's so hard that it's not real. Like I was there. And we talked about it. I mean, obviously Indiana basketball, like that's what you talk about when you're in kindergarten, talking about winning the state championship. And it's it's the same kind of deal, man. All right, now ask your question.
Okay, so I saw this the other day, and I had to ask you, since you were at a golf tournament and you won, you're continuing on. There was an image of a golf ball within 2 feet of the pin. The putt is for birdie. My question to you is, if I'm playing, let's say I'm playing in it just a twosome, if it's the guy I'm playing with, I say that's a give me. Or a gimme. Sorry, didn't mean to.
A give me. I've never heard
That's a
someone
give
say it
me.
like that.
That's a gimme, right?
The proper way to get a gimme.
Yeah.
It's within 2 feet, that's a gimme. Get your birdie. If it's me, I have to putt it. Like I can't just pick it up and card a birdie. Like if it's for a birdie, if it's a par, I'll take it. But if it's a birdie, I've got to putt it. I have to know, like, what's your philosophy here?
Yeah, birdies are never good.
Okay.
You have to put the ball in the hole. If you're on the green in 2 on a par 5 and you hit it to 10 feet and you miss the putt by an inch, you better walk up there and hit the ball in the hole.
I agree.
Like I don't think I've ever been in the scenario where someone looks at me and like, is that good? Just because I mean, you have to put the ball in the hole.
Right.
I did have a scenario. Oh, I almost got in a fight on a golf course. This is all in the same
This will be
trip.
how we end the podcast. This is gonna be how we
Yes.
end the show.
I almost got in a fight.
Oh,
So
real quick, I do want to throw the hotline out because I was thinking this while we were on dreams. If you have an interesting dream that's just completely wacko, please tell us. I would love to hear a really funny dream.
We could have a whole different podcast purely on dreams and the dreams that I have. I have a dream every night that's vivid in banana land. But golf.
So yeah, 502-830-9195 if you want to participate in that. And then Mitchell, your story.
Please do. This is how we'll end it. Yep. So I'm in Charleston. I've already been bit by a dog. All things are they're pointing up. Golf course is completely full. We haven't really waited, but there's a group in front, group behind. There's group in front of them, group in front of them, group in front of them. Like it's a very nice day in Charleston. There's people on the golf course. It's a Saturday. There's nowhere to go. We're on like the 12th hole, and we're in the fairway. There's 4 of us. No one's behind. We're all kind of right there in the middle of the fairway. And it isn't the group behind us because we had seen them. We had waited a little bit. We got to know them. This other foursome starts driving up. They just continue past us. And one of the guys in my group's like, hey, where are y'all going? What are you doing? And I'm not going to use the exact language that they said because it was crazy what this dude actually said. But basically he said, we're just going in front of you. We're like, well, what are you talking about? You're going in front of us. We're on the 12th hole. We haven't slowed anyone down, and there's people in front of us. Where are you going? They pull up, and what they don't realize is the group in front of us is on the tee right in front of us, and the tee to the green that we're hitting into is like 10 yards. They're right next to each other. And this group in front of us is already on that tee. They're hitting, and they don't let these people to go past them. So now there's the group that was in front of us, these 4 people, there's 2 girls and 2 guys, and then us hitting up into this green. Like as we speak, now they haven't been let through by this group in front of us. We're coming right up on them. So now they're kind of stuck, right? There's nowhere to go. And we are going right to them. And we were chirping. Absolutely, we were chirping at them like, how stupid are you? You're not going in front of us. It's going to be a long wait to figure out wherever you were in the pack because you got to wait for all the groups. They don't like that. They start hitting on that tee while we're on the tee box. They start hitting. Best part of the story, the guy is my age. He's a 30-year-old named Randall, I would later find out, which is, of course, his name was Randall. He looked like a Randall. Sorry if your name's Randall and you're listening to this. You look like a guy that would jump me on the golf course probably. He goes up to basically not like the front forward tees, but the tees right behind it. He's playing the golf course from like 5,200 yards. And we're playing the back tees. So he is 3 tees in front of me. And he walks up and starts hitting. So I put my tee in the ground. I put my ball on the tee, obviously. And I'm just sitting there leaning on my driver, waiting for him to hit from 35 yards behind him on the like actual grown-up tees. So he has to hit his ball. He hits it 400 yards right. There's a river that hits it right in the river. And now he's got to walk back and look at us, and we're chirping him the entire time. Look at us after going to these little kid tees. Walks right up to us. My buddy gets a little chirpy. Like, you're not going. What are you thinking? Is this your first time on a golf course? They start saying, oh, is it your course? Blah, blah, blah. Like the typical puff your chest out. They start pushing. Like, it wasn't a fight, but you remember World Star? Like, this would have been on World Star. They're pushing each other, calling each other names. The girl is like yelling outrageous obscenities at us. They call the pro shop. They actually had to leave the course, which was the best part. But there was like a shoving match that almost turned into a wrestling match on the 13th tee at Stono Ferry. I had never been a part of this. So I'm like bleeding in the arm. I'm yelling at these kids. We've had a couple too many fireball shots. It's the first time that it was the closest to like an all-out brawl that I've ever been. And it happened on a golf course.
That's wild.
Wow.
I've never heard of somebody like just cutting just because they wanted to.
It was crazy. There was nowhere to go. We played in 4 hours and 15 minutes, which is a pretty standard. We played in 4 hours and 15 minutes after yelling at these people for 20 minutes without hitting. So like it was a fast round, even though it was full. I just had never seen anything like that. Randall, if you're listening, you can come to my house. I'll fight you right here. I would do it. There was not alcohol impact. No, none of that. It was crazy. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. So that it was
maybe
quite the week.
That's why you had the dream about the gun. And
maybe it was Randall.
That was Randall. That was 100% Randall.
Comes full circle.
Yes.
I hope not, because that is.
You're inviting him to your house because.
Yeah, this is now premeditated. This is premeditated. This just went to a different degree. We need to cut the show.
Oh man, what a great way to end. Yeah. Shout out to those of you who made it this far, because this is the longest we've ever recorded. So, what a fun episode.
That was
sorry that this is a day late. This is coming out on Thursday if you're somebody who listens usually the day it releases. But you know what? If we were recorded last night, it wouldn't have been nearly as good of an episode. I was exhausted. Mitchell said he was in a crappy mood. And you know what? Today's episode was hopefully a good time for you guys. So
it was for us.
Until next week, we'll talk to you then. Have a good rest of your week.